Maybe I was actually wrong about some of my previous comments about maybe the negatives of a junk slab era. Let's talk about it. Hello to all my sports card collectors, investors, all of my collectibles friends. Another day, another card video. Welcome back. If you're new here, please hit that subscribe button, the big red button down below. We need you. We're growing. We are growing. We're building it. We're building it.
All this time, we've been building it.
Also, don't forget to connect with me on IG at Sports Card Dad, and I'm also on the old Twitter machine, the Sports Card Dad. Shout out to channel partner Card Shop Live. You got to try them out. It's a news selling app, and there is a giveaway, my friends. Every other week, 2 winners get $50 each. You just have to sign up for the app. I'll put the instructions down in the comments section below, as well as the video description. Check out Card Shop Live. All right, last night, laying in bed, having some deep thoughts.
And now, Deep Thoughts by Jack Handy.
And I, along with many others, have kind of coined this era the junk slab era in reference to the late 80s, early 90s junk wax era, kind of a play on words. How witty, right? And the junk slab era pertains to just the amount of graded cards that are moving out into the marketplace. It's been boom time for grading companies, whether it's PSA, SGC, CSG, or BGS, or even other companies, startup companies that are coming into the market. They're all in business and frankly staying in business because they're getting enough cards in to churn out graded copies. And it's really become a thing over the last few years. Not to say that it wasn't before. These companies all combined have graded more than 10 million cards over the last 3 years. Pretty shocking, really. That's a heck of a lot of cards. And yes, of course, during 2020, 2019, 2021, a lot of base rookie cards were graded. And why was that? Why were people sending in these, low-end cards like fools, as a lot of people would say? Well, bulk grading for a lot of companies was $8, $10, $15. And so when you really look at the resale on a lot of that stuff going back, it still made sense, even if it was a base rookie card of a particular player. And it didn't need to be a superstar. It could be an up-and-coming rookie, and it works out in your favor. And something I've really noticed as I've been at shows recently is, yes, are people buying raw cards that are in the quarter bin, the 50-cent bin, the dollar bin, maybe the $2, the $5 bin maybe even? Sure. But there's kind of a bracket there between like $10 and maybe, I don't know, $75, maybe even up to $100. So let's just use that as an example. And of course, this is just kind of a far-reaching general statement, but $10 raw cards to $100 raw cards and maybe even beyond, they don't sell near as well as their graded counterparts. And now that we have grading prices that are coming back down to earth where, it's not $50 to grade a card, it's not $100 to grade a card, we're kind of getting into a, $15, $20, $25, $30 zone to where a lot of cards can fit the bill for resale, but also just for long-term hold, for collection, or maybe it's not a flip like in the next few weeks, maybe it's a flip in a couple of years, maybe it's in 1 year. Anyway, you understand the point. Grading prices are coming down, and that's a benefit to the consumers, big time. So does it mean everyone starts sending in their base rookie cards again? No, but yes. I mean, look, and also with a lot of the new products, a lot of the parallels to me are really base cards because they're so damn plentiful. That random patch card for a particular player that's an orange numbered out of 99. How many of those are out there? A zillion? Just as far as the different products, et cetera. I know we're going to say, well, if it's numbered to 99, then there's only 99. Yeah, but when you've got 20 different sets that have a numbered out of 99 orange parallel, and that's one color out of 50 colors that are in the set, it's a ton of cards. And I think that that's the sort of stuff that will get graded quite a bit at $10, $15 grading, because you might be able to get the card for $2, $3, $5, and then maybe you grade it for 15, so you're in it for maybe 20, and you sell it for 40. That's the sort of thing that I could see really kind of picking up. And something that struck me too at the National. So the National, of course, the largest card show on the planet, multiple dealers said that the sales between that $50 to $500 range were moving like crazy. That's really where a lot of the buying frenzy was. And I saw it with my own eyes too. I saw people that didn't even really negotiate, would walk up kind of $200 ask, $300 ask, or maybe they negotiate down to $280, $270, whatever. A lot more sales of that stuff than the $1,500, $2,000, the $5,000 card. Of course, you have a lot of high-end buyers that can buy that stuff, but I'm just talking about the average Joe that's at the show. And with how busy shows are now, these aren't necessarily people that are just trying to, buy something. I don't think. I think this is just people trying to get into the market, trying to get some skin in the game, trying to learn more about it. A lot of new people coming in. I mean, there's so much talk about the people getting out. And yes, you had Flip Life and a lot of flippers that came and went, maybe are coming back now. But I think that what people are missing is I think there's actually a lot of new collectors / investors, because I hear from them all the time. I hear from people that are like, hey, just started watching your videos a couple months ago when I got back in. And you're thinking like, when you watch a lot of, channel content or whatever, or just content out there in the universe, Instagram, YouTube, you just hear a lot about prices down, people are getting out. Prices might be down on certain things, but I don't necessarily think it means everybody's gotten out. I still think there's a lot of people getting in, still learning about this. I think a lot of the news cycle is just kind of starting to catch up with people to where they're like, hey, I collected cards as a kid. Let's check this out. Or they have kids that are getting into it. They heard about it, etc. So it's just interesting to me. I think that there's a lot of people kind of looking to dip their toe in and just kind of be a part of it without spending, $50 million on a black finite one of one that's being touted at as the big break hit. Or I know a lot of people come in breaks, which is great. That's fine. It gets people in to the hobby and to the market. And then they do breaks for a while. And then they're like, hey, look, there's this massive singles market out here. I can actually just buy the stuff, just buy the singles, and so I think that happens a lot too. The breaks kind of get people in, and then once they're in, it's like, interesting. Okay, there's all sorts of different things out here. And so one benefit of the junk slab era, which I think is probably just going to continue on into the future, is when I was a kid, if I'm going back, it was all raw stuff. If I'm going back to the late 80s and the 90s, PSA started in 91, but PSA was not a household name really until the 2000s. I wouldn't say that PSA or any of the companies were huge in the 90s. They were just starting to get going. There wasn't mass adoption to this. It took time for it to catch on. And so most of the transactions were raw cards. When I go back and think about those times, yes, people did care about quality, but there's just so much argument over, is it fine condition? Is it very good? Is it mint? Is it near mint? And if you think the dealers have an upper hand today, they way had an upper hand back then. No internet, couldn't check comps on anything, and then also couldn't really grade a card to know what sort of condition maybe it's in and then be able to compare comps against the condition. So as much as the grading companies, maybe people like them, dislike them, they made a mistake, blah, 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 whatever. The reality is they're necessary. They're very, very necessary for this reason, because it makes for not just people my age, but also young people that are trying to trade with their buddies or trying to deal with a dealer. They actually have the ability to say, like, actually, buddy, no, here's a recent sale here. I'll show it to you right here on my phone. And it helps make transactions happen. It just helps make a more educated collector / consumer. And so I think just as far as trading cards go, and that's where you see it, at the trade nights, it's really interesting. There was action. I saw trading action, but it wasn't necessarily for massive cards. It was for that $50 to $500 range is a nice sweet spot for people to get into players that they really like, whether you're prospecting or, frankly, there are plenty of GOAT cards, whether you're talking about Michael Jordan or Tom Brady, maybe not Babe Ruth cards, but there's plenty of kind of modern GOATs that are out there to where you can get stuff that's in that range. It's in the $50 to $500 range. Some pretty nice stuff, frankly. So it gives opportunity for people to come in, get their feet wet, try to figure out what they like, don't like, where do they like to buy, sell, are they just collecting certain players, team sets. There's a zillion different ways to do the hobby, but I think that grading in this junk slab era has really kind of opened doors. And yes, will there be, the $5 slab bin, the $10 slab bin? Probably forever. It's probably going to grow. It'll probably be the $50 slab bin, the $100 slab bin. That'll be way, way more common, because I don't think third-party grading is going to slow down. Just the way that you see with raw copies of cards, people are just getting so used to seeing graded cards. And when I was at the National, let's talk about vintage for a second. A lot of those vintage dealers, they know what the heck they're doing. I was looking at Bart Star rookie cards raw, because actually I had a comment on a video that was like, hey, bud, don't buy the PSA 4, PSA 5 Bart Star rookie card. Just buy a raw card, get it graded yourself, and save money. So I'm like, all right, I'll take a look at that. these guys know what they're doing. They grade these cards. So the ones that were raw, there was one table that had 5 or 6 raw Bart Starr rookie cards, and they were selling those cards for basically what a 3 or a 4, maybe even a 5 would sell for. So it's kind of like, why would I buy this raw and take the risk of it not even being a real card, being trimmed or whatever? I may as well just buy a PSA 3 or PSA 4 or SGC 4 or BGS or whatever it is outright. I may as well just do that. So are there deals to be had on raw vintage? Maybe. But look, the dealers at the National certainly know what they're doing. I mean, unless you have someone that really doesn't know what they're doing, but then it's kind of like, if it's too good to be true, it probably is, so third-party grading, good, bad, indifferent, ugly, whatever. It's one of those necessary things that I think it really has helped drive the market forward. I think it's going to continue to do so. And I just think that, as we look at it and of course, we have to take the negatives into account of there being, slabs of stuff that maybe shouldn't be graded. But here's the answer to that is grading companies have adjusted their capacity. They've hired on. They've been building out infrastructure since they've had to, adjust to the big 2020 boom. And so now they do have enough capacity to grade that base rookie card. And look, if someone just wants to have that in their collection, or it's young people just trying to get started and get into, okay, how do I submit a card? How do I get it graded? That's great. That's a great option. So I know when it was taking, a year and a half, 2 years to get your cards back or whatever, it was kind of like, man, I wish that people wouldn't send in all their junk. The reality is we just need the grading companies to be able to handle it. That's really what it boils down to. And I think we're getting to a really nice place where we've got solid grading companies that can handle it. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. All Junk Slab Era, bad thing? Or could it be a good thing to help people out? Stay healthy, stay awesome. And don't forget to check out Card Shop Live. Talk to you later.